Welcome back to BasslineFresh Detailing. On today's episode, I have a surprise disaster detail. When I got here, I was not expecting just how dirty this Lexus SUV is. So join me as we jump into the unknown. We get this thing cleaned up as good as we can with the time that we have, and I think it came out pretty good. This is BasslineFresh. Please watch until the end for a great before and after compilation. Let's jump into it. Starting off with some before shots. I have a quick little video here right when I got there. Before I even touch anything, you bring out the phone and you make sure you get not just the dirt, not just what we need to work on, but make sure you're taking videos of any damage that's already on the car, the state of the car, the state of how the customer has given it to you, so that later on, if the customer has any issues or if they have any complaints, you can go back to the footage and point things out clearly to them. No, this was already damaged before I touched it, or look at the difference that I made cleaning this part, etc., etc. These are things that you should be considering if you have your own detailing business. Going through here, you can see tons of dirt and debris all around this SUV. The customer was nice enough to get rid of all large items. The glove box was empty, all the side pockets were empty, so that's a really big benefit. I don't have to spend time doing that. But I had my work cut out for me, even with all that stuff pulled out, because as you can see, this couple used their SUV for all sorts of stuff: camping, fishing, day-to-day use, work, drive. They kept this car for 10 years. As we begin the exterior wash, I always like to start with the wheels and tires first. Usually they're the dirtiest part of the car, and I don't want to have water splashing around and dirt and mud flinging everywhere once you've already done the rest of the car. There's a chance that you might get everything dirty all over again if you leave the tires for last. So I do them first, just in case. Of course, always try to make time for touch-ups at the end, but that's the process that I've made for myself now. As you can see going in here, I spray it down with my pressure washer, get as much off with that initial rinse as possible. Make sure you're spending time on the wheel wells, in between all the suspension bits, on the edge of that wheel well where salt likes to build up, right near the on the very far edge of that wheel well. After spraying it down, we'll go in with APC in a spray bottle. This is pretty heavily diluted. I'm just using a general APC that I bought at the grocery store. It doesn't have to be anything fancy or anything name brand. It's pretty powerful stuff. I just spray it right on there. I'm not scared of damaging the wheels because these wheels have been through a lot already. The customer is not expecting me to act like this is a Lamborghini or anything. They know how the condition of their car is to start. He's okay with me using aggressive chemicals, and it's what's needed because there's years and years of stuck-on stuff here that would take forever to just scrub away. So I'm using this chemical to do most of the heavy lifting for me, and then I go in and agitate. As you can see here, I have a special brush for my tire. I have a flexible brush for the inner barrel of the rim, and then I have a microfiber towel for all the little details and the face of the rim. I find that just using my fingers with the microfiber wrapped around them is the ultimate way to get the exact details that you want and to be precise. Spray down your APC, inspect your work. If you notice anything that needs a little bit more effort put in, hit it with that chemical again and get back to another round of working on it, and then spray it all down and you can move on to your next tire. Later on, I will come back to these tires. Once they're all dry, I'll make sure that I get a nice coating of Chemical Guys VPR onto that rubber. It will help keep them darker, it will help keep them healthy, you can actually see the product being absorbed into the rubber when you wipe it in. It's a great product. I highly recommend it. It will protect from sun damage, and it'll keep it looking black and nice, like fresh new rubber. Once all 4 corners of the SUV has been finished, I will go and start doing my pre-rinse. This step is very important. We're working out in the hot summer sun today. This isn't a black car, so it's not the worst it could possibly be, but it is a darker shade of red, so it does attract a lot of that heat. So we want to use our pre-rinse to knock off all the large debris, and it's also going to help cool down the metal from all these panels on this outside of the car. You don't want to be spraying your chemicals on hot metal. Sometimes it will react in a bad way. So we cool down this entire SUV, and then since we're working in the sun, I'm going to use my soap and my other chemicals in sections so I can work quickly, I can work focused, and then I can move on to a different section when I'm sure that I'm done cleaning. A great little tip here, as you can see, one of the first things I'm doing is going through all the doors and spraying down the door jambs and the inner door edges near the door sill. Don't be afraid of getting water inside. Obviously this SUV is a disaster inside. I don't mind if it gets a little bit wet. It's not going to hurt anything. As a matter of fact, getting that stuff, it might help. But as long as you angle that pressure washer a certain way, you can minimize how much water is going in, and it makes a great difference bringing back some life to your dirty door jambs. It's not exactly a place people think of, but it makes a huge difference in how your car looks. Later on, if you need to, you can come back and give it a spray with some chemical, maybe a wipe with your microfiber, but usually the big difference is just spraying it with water. Once we've done our first rinse and gotten all the large debris off of this SUV, we can start working on this beautiful Matador Red paint. Lexus has some really great paint. Actually, everything on this car is great. The materials used, the paint quality, the quality of the metal, the plastics, everything was really good. I was very surprised how it held up after all these years of abuse. As you can see here, I'm starting on the side that is not in direct sunlight. It'll give me good working time. I don't have to worry about it drying up on me too quick. I'm starting here with this passenger side of the SUV. I have a nice soft turtle wax microfiber mitt. One side is a little bit rougher so I can get off bugs and stuck on iron and road grime, and then the other side is a soft microfiber for getting into the details and gliding over the paintwork. As you can see, along the bottom panels of this SUV, I have a completely separate mitt. I'm choosing to go below the door handle line. You can choose your point depending on how dirty the car is. Usually the parts closer to the road are being hit with mud, debris, oil, litter, all this stuff, roadkill, stuff that splatters onto your car. Usually it's worse near the wheels and the bottom edges of the doors. So in order to prevent contamination and to prevent my mitt dragging large debris across the paint, I have 2 separate mitts. One will be for the upper half of the car, or the SUV. The other one is for the lower half. So you'll see me switch between these, working quickly. I'll spray them out with the hose or the pressure washer every once in a while. I'll make sure I wring them out in the bucket. You want as clean of a wash mitt as possible at all times. As we go through, I would pre-spray with my APC on the bottom of these, heavier, dirty areas, and then I would go in with some Meguiar's Gold Class soap in a nice bucket of water with my wash mitt. Hitting it with the APC will get rid of all the heavy stuff, and then we do our final touches with the proper car soap. As I make my way around the car, remember to keep the sun in mind. You want to keep moving quickly. You want to reapply your soap if you see any places getting dry. If you're working on a large area, you can take a step back and then do a light mist with your pressure washer or your hose just to keep the entire wide range moist and to keep it wet so nothing is drying up on you and causing potential damage. So that completes the wash portion. Now moving on to the wax portion, I have a spray wax called Auto Glim Polar Seal. It actually goes right into my foam cannon on my pressure washer, and you spray down, make sure you soak the entire paintwork properly, get a good layer on there, get into all the corners and cracks and crevices, and then you simply pressure wash it and rinse it all off. You don't have to buff it in, you don't have to wait for it to soak in and apply. You simply spray it on and then spray it off, and it leaves up to a week or more of protection. Once that's done, I go in with a drying towel, a nice plush microfiber. I hit all the areas, all the wide spots that I can, and then if necessary, use my finger with a microfiber wrapped around it to get into any edges, and then just leave the car to dry out in the sun. And everything should be nice. Double check over for any water spots, any chemical etching, any places that you missed. If you need to go back over it, use a spray bottle with ONR for those quick fixes, or just keep your bucket around with your soap and hit up anywhere that needs it. Now that we're done the exterior, we can move on to our interior pieces and our carpet and our rubber mats.